Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, let us take a look into @bin annotation. Well, @bin annotation indicates that a method produces a bean to be managed by Spring container. The @bin annotation is usually declared in a configuration class to create Spring Bean definitions. So let's go ahead and let's see how we can use @bin annotation with an example. So let's go to IntelliJ IDEA and go to our project. And so far we have used annotation based configuration, like we have used add component annotation, we have used add primer annotation, and we have used add attr annotation. Alright, so far we have used annotation based configuration. Next, this @bin annotation is used in a Java based configuration, and in order to use @bin annotation we have to create a configuration class. So here let me quickly create one more package, and let me call it as config, and within a config package let's create a class. Let's call it as app config, and in order to make this class as a configuration class we have to annotate this class with add configuration annotation. Well, whenever we annotate a class with add configuration annotation, then this class becomes a configuration class, and within this configuration class we can define a Spring Bean definitions using @bin annotation. Alright, now let me first remove the annotation based configuration for one of the class. For example, here let me go to veg pizza class, and here we have your add component annotation to tell Spring IOC container to automatically create a Spring Bean for this class, right? Now we need to use @bin annotation to explicitly create a Spring Bean for this veg pizza class, and then we tell Spring container to manage that Spring Bean. Okay, so here what I will do, I will remove this add component annotation. Next, let us see how to use @bin annotation to create a Spring Bean for this class. So go to app config class over here. So this is the configuration class. Within this class we can create a Spring Bean definitions by using @bin annotation. Alright, so here just create a method public, and then let's view return type as pizza. So pizza is the interface and veg pizza is the implementation of this pizza interface. And next let us give method name veg pizza. Next return the object of veg pizza. Now we have created a method, it returns the object of veg pizza class. Next we need to tell Spring IOC container to manage this veg pizza object, right? So in order to do that we can annotate this method with @bin annotation. Now this @bin annotation tells Spring IOC container to manage the object of this veg pizza class. Alright, and if you can closely observe this code, we are explicitly creating the object of veg pizza class, and we are telling Spring container to manage this object. Okay, but in case of annotation based configuration we have used add component annotation. So this add component annotation tells Spring IOC container to automatically create the Spring Bean for this class. Okay, we haven't created the object of this class using new keyword in case of annotation based configuration, but in case of Java based configuration we are using new keyword to create object of this veg pizza class, and we are telling Spring container to manage this object. Okay, so I hope you understood the difference between annotation based configuration and Java based configuration. Now the Spring IOC container is managing the object of this veg pizza class, right? Next let us see how to retrieve this veg pizza object from the Spring IOC container. So go to main method over here, and here we have a application context object. So application context is nothing but a Spring IOC container. We can retrieve Spring Bean from the IOC container by using getBean method. So here let us call context object, it has getBean method, and then pass veg pizza as a class type. Next veg pizza. Okay, now we got a veg pizza Spring Bean from the Spring IOC container. Next let us put the system.out.println and then call veg pizza object, it has getPizza method. Okay, now for time being let me comment out this code. Alright, so next let us run the program, and there we go, veg pizza is printed in a console. It means we have successfully created a Spring Bean by using @bin annotation. Next, one more important point is, by default Spring container will give a name to this Spring Bean as a method name. Okay, and you can also explicitly provide a name to the Spring Bean by using name attribute of this @bin annotation. For example, here this @bin annotation has name attribute, and we can explicitly give a name to the Spring Bean by using this name attribute. For example, here let me give bean name something like veg pizza bean, and we can retrieve this Spring Bean by using this bean name. For example, let me copy this bean name and let me go to main method over here, and here instead of passing the class type, let us pass the bean name and let us provide the casting. Alright, and let us run the application, and there we go. So this is how we can use bean name to get a Spring Bean from the application context. And by default, Spring Container will give name to this Spring Bean as a method name. For example, here let me copy this method name and let me remove the bean name that we have provided explicitly and go to main method and just pass the method name as a bean name, and let us run the application, and there we go, veg pizza is printed. Okay, so by default Spring Container will give a name to the Spring Bean as a method name. Next, let us see how to inject the dependencies. So here let me create one more Spring Bean, public pizza, and let's give method name as non-veg pizza, and then let us return the object of non-veg pizza class, and let us annotate this method with @bin annotation. Next, go to non-veg pizza class and let us remove these two annotations because we are not using annotation based configuration, we are using Java based configuration, right? So again go back to app_config class. Now we have created two Spring Bean definitions by using @bin annotation. Next, go to pizza controller, and here also we have used @component annotation to create a Spring Bean for this pizza controller. Now we need to use @bin annotation, right? So here let me remove @component annotation, and here also let me remove @attribute annotation because we are not going to use annotation based configuration. Okay, next let us go back to app_config, and here let's create a Spring Bean for pizza controller. So just type public and then pizza controller as a return type and pizza controller as a method name, and then return an instance of pizza controller, and pizza controller depends on a pizza. Alright, so pizza can be a veg pizza or non-veg pizza. Let us say we want to inject veg pizza as a dependency in a pizza controller, then we can simply pass this veg pizza method call. So this veg pizza returns object of veg pizza class. So this is how we inject the dependency in a Java based configuration. Next, let us annotate this method with @bin annotation. Alright, so just try to compare the annotation based configuration and Java based configuration. In case of annotation based configuration, we have used @auto annotation to inject the dependency automatically, but in case of Java based configuration, we have to explicitly provide the dependency to a class. Okay, and then we need to annotate this method with @bin annotation so that Spring Container can start managing the object of this pizza controller class. Next, let us go ahead and let us test this change. So let's go to main method over here, and here let me uncomment this pizza controller code, and here let me comment out this veg pizza code. So basically here we have retrieved pizza controller Spring Bean from the application context using bean name. Well, by default Spring Container gives bean name as a method name, and this is what we are using over here. Alright, next let us run this program, and notice here veg pizza is printed in a console because we have injected veg pizza class object as a dependency to pizza controller. Okay, next let us say we want to inject non-veg Spring Bean as a dependency to pizza controller, then we can simply change over here. So here instead of veg pizza, let us call non-veg pizza. Perfect. Next, let's go to main method and let us test this quickly. And notice here in the console non-veg pizza is printed. So this is how we can inject the dependency in a Java based configuration. Alright, I hope you understood how to use @bin annotation to create the Spring Bean definitions and how to inject the dependencies and how we can give a name to the @bin annotation. Next, by default the bean name is same as method name. We can specify the bean name using name attribute of this @bin annotation. Well, this we have already seen. Next, @bin annotation provides init method and destroy method attributes to perform certain actions before bin initialization or before bin destruction by a container. Well, let us see how we can use init method and destroy method attributes of @bin annotation. So let's go back to our example, and here in a pizza controller, let us use init method and destroy method attributes. So go to @bin annotation over here. It has init method attribute, and here we can pass the value as a method name. For example, let us say we use a method name as init. So this init method will get called before creating or initializing this class object. Next, it has destroy method attribute, and we can pass a value as a method name. So let's give method name as a destroy. So Spring Container will call this destroy method before it gets shut down. Okay, now let us define this init and destroy method in a pizza controller class. So go to pizza controller class over here, and here let's create a method named init, and within a init method we can write the initialization logic. For example, here let me simply put the system.println, and let me print something like initialization logic. And next, let me create one more method, public void, and then destroy, and then let me put the system.println, and let me print something like destruction logic. So make sure that the init method and destroy method names should be same as the value we have passed to init method and destroy method attributes. Okay, next let us see how this works. So go to main method. From here let us run the program, and notice here in a console initialization logic is printed and destruction logic is also printed. Alright, so this is how we can use init method and destroy method attributes of @bin annotation. Well, the best use case of using init method and destroy method attributes of @bin annotation is that whenever you have a requirement to insert records in a database table at application startup, then you can use this init method attribute, and you can specify the method name. So this method will basically insert the records in a database while application startup. Next, if you have a requirement to destroy or delete those records from the database table while application is shut down, then you can simply use destroy method attribute, and you can specify the method. So within this method you can write the logic to delete the records while application shut down. So this is the best use case using init method and destroy method attributes of @bin annotation. Alright, so this is all about @bin annotation.